So here we are, beautiful morning for it, some might say. It's been a long hour so far, but the rest of the morning is still in front of us, and the little blue fellas don't seem to be going anywhere. Odd. As I said before, Tau usually turn tail and run at the prospect of a full-on scrap, but here they are, fighting tooth and claw for this valley and its relay station. And tooth and claw seems to be the best way to put it actually, as the dog bird things come down the sides of the valley in their droves. Cute. Nasty. Us outside of our old girl, our beloved Leman Russ Battle Tank, left behind due to Xenos firepower, naked in the middle of a barney. It don't bode well. Old bonus Bill, God I love Bill, has been moving up the field of combat, sweeping away all before him. But he's starting to look a bit lonely out there, as more and more of our armour are sniped out or burnt down by the Xenos filth. Yet old Bill keeps on trundling up the middle. There is no stopping Bill. Stingy Wing, the Vespids of the Tau, airborne nasties, have been swept from the skies by our flyboys in their Valkyries, and they dropped off a load of ratty sniper boys, then a large force of thickets, the Ogrins, before taking off again. Things are getting hectic above us as a wave of Tau flyers come in and start dogfighting our boys. Don't know where they were earlier. They take the duel up into the clouds, but its resultant dead uns come raining down across the entire show, like meteorites of flame and melting metal, and they slam down here, try a controlled crash there, but the final upshot is utter carnage. To the sides of our thrust, entire companies of Vostroyans now take up position behind the lines of Ogrin thick boys, preparing for the avalanche of Kroot to hit 'em. Not sure who I'm more sorry for, if I'm honest. Them Kroot look like they know what to do in a close-up scrap, but our dimwits, the Ogrins, well, they may be as thick as they are tall, but they also got a vicious streak a mile wide when their blood is up. Doggy birds are in for a kicking. But the Fuzzy Tops, the Vostroyans, are now behind them and preparing to blast down anyone who flanks them or somehow manages to get over or under the three lines of slab Ogrins. Can't see it happening, but as I said, those doggy bird things are in a right crowd. Ratty boys are still taking out the Tau sniper drones at the top of the ridge, sparing any shots they have for the officers and NCOs of the Tau fire warrior lines midway down the side of the valley, now unloading into our slabs and Fuzzy Tops. Both sets are taking it well, but it may affect things. Us? Without our tank, we are in trouble. Strangers in a strange land, Johnny on the spot. Ears, Gobby, Grumpy, Rotten and I are dodging our way forward, moving with the oncoming second and third waves of fuzzies heading up the field. The first company's engaged with traitor humans working with the Xenos, the scum. Without our old girl, all we can do is move up and hope to get a few licks in, I guess. But every scalp counts, as they say, so onwards we go. Looking around at the firstborn, the Fuzzy Tops, well, I'm now wondering about the wisdom of our actions. Let's be honest, the ground pounders are set up for this kind of thing. Hats aside, none of them could be less than a strapping 6.5 foot tall, or plus. Trained for the bare-knuckle brawl in close that this may be, their bayonets already stuck and sharpened. And here's my motley crew. Enthusiastic, but very likely out of their depth if we do make it to the front of the barney. So I gets to looking about, having a shufty. Never know what you'll find laying about, as I always say. It's then that I clock something of importance. As our boys push the Tau humans back, I can see her. I can see the crew on top of her. Now, my young lady, can it be that you're all alone on the dance floor, yet have no partner? Time to check her out. Lads, hold up. Head towards the cluster of wrecks over on the left. Double time it, you horrible lot, shouts I. Rotten takes point, brandishing his trenching tool like it was a power weapon. And so we get to a clump of 4 of our tanks all burnt out. Well, all but one. The top hatch is open, and 2 of her crew are lying face down on the ground, not yards from her. The last on her top, not having even made it off her before he got ganked. But lo and behold, the Emperor protects, the Emperor also guides. 'cause just over the ruckus of the fray, we hear she is still purring. My best guess? The burner boys lost their bottle and thought she was going to pop, bailed out, but were gunned down by Stingy fast. The bodies are a mess. All the rest aside, there is no mistaking Stingy. The Vespid got these lads. As each of the boys hear her purring away, her Emperor-blessed heart still pumping strong, they all turn to me and grin like the evil little wretches they are. Even Grumpy. I nod my assent and bark my orders. Grumpy! Back behind the wheel. Rotten, you're on the fire spitter. Gobby, heavy bolter. Ears, slide in somewhere small and get the comms working. Gobby then turns to me. What about you, Skip? Who do you think was sticking their head out the top and directing then? Not like I'd ask any of you wastrels to do it, is it? They slip sidelong looks at each other as they scale the tank and drop into the hatch one by one. Yep, sticking my head out the top ain't a grand plan, but there ain't going to be the space in there for all of us if I don't, and I ain't asking none of the boys to do it. Nah. Grumpy has a good head on him if mine comes off. He'll steer them through. Pardon the pun. A pun? Well, that's my first and last, I reckon. She's not one we've paid in for some time, this young lady, but we know the drill. She's a hellhound. Nippier than our old lass, but way more petite, is the only way I could put it. She ain't got the thunder the old girl could bring down, but she has it in other ways. We zip off down the field, as we need to be right down their throats to make good of this young lady's assets, because she's a burner. That turret, that gun, it don't fire a shot, it don't fire cannon shells. It spews gouts of flame wherever we point it. But it's knife fighting range practically. Grumpy bunny hops us for a few seconds, not hitting the gears right, but soon we're off. Nippy, as I said. We are making good time. We weave around the burning wrecks that litter the way up to the main push, but soon we're in sight. And it's not a pleasant sight, I can tell you. The column is spread out now. So many tanks have been gutted that huge rents in our line exist, and those boys at the front are looking reactionary and strung out. Bonus Bill is practically alone now, ploughing up the middle, but I have a feeling this is by design. The tower shot out all of his closest friends and left him on his own. Not great. Even more worrying is to come. The blue boys. They have these shiny looking walls all made of energy, like a force field or something. So our fire has to hit the bases and the supports, but cannot get through them easily. And there is a whole host of issues behind those first sets of walls. We can see them massing, readying to charge. Cootikin, thousands of them. But they have heavy things, big things with them. With pretty big guns on them, if I must say. None of them individually would so much as scratch old Bill, I reckon. But in numbers, focusing him down could be a problem. So we do what we have to do. Got to pay back old Bonus Bill who saved us earlier from that riptide thing by getting right in front of him and guarding him like a mother a newborn babe. As we peg it forward, the walls on certain sections of the tower lines drop for a few seconds and forward they pour. Then the walls go up again and a new wave prepare behind them. What we feared is about to happen, as even Bill's firepower cannot take them all down when they gain ground. Well, they do until Grumpy pulls a blinder. He ducks and weaves around Bill's side and we unleash our little gifts from the Emperor. A strong stream of our Promethium arcs into the air as Rotten does what he does best. It lands right slap bang in the middle of the oncoming Xenos. Some try to roll around on the floor to put out the fire, but it ain't fire, you see. It's Promethium, so it sticks to them no matter how much they howl and roll and whine. But of course, this means that those behind cannot get anywhere. Certainly cannot get to us. And Rotten then angles the hose slightly higher and begins to immolate the ranks behind. With us now positioning ourselves forward of Bill, he now concentrates his sponson on our flanks, bursting anything that looks like it's going to flank us, as his main gun roars again and again and tears chunks out of the tower tide wall. Other tanks then start arriving. Looks like the chaps in charge have gotten their finger out and given the orders. Good. With Bill behind us, more of our column to his flanks, and a newly created opening to our fore, it's now a very simple matter. What tricks do the Tau have up their sleeve? 'Cause if they ain't got none, this little Setsu is all but over. And now, it is time to forge the narrative, where you choose the outcome for the future of this story. Our tank crew have had a fine run of it thus far, all voted by you. But there is a lot now going on in this battle. I wonder if we may wish to change the camera to another group. So in the comments at the end of this video, please put in your vote. Please leave the vote letters in capital and leave a gap before any further comment, or comment separately if possible. It helps the channel, but also allows me to collate the results while gaining fantastic ideas, so we can continue the story as we see fit. So, our new options. TEC, Tango Charlie, Tank Crew. We continue with Gobby, Grumpy, Rotten Ears and Skipper, and see the battle move onwards through their eyes. Tango Papa, Tau Perspective. We shift camera angle to find out what the dastardly Tau have planned for the confrontation. For Skipper is right, the Tau do not fight battles of attrition, so they must have something up their sleeves. Something big. Or something clever, not always the same thing. VP, Victor Papa, Vostroyan Perspective. We move the view of the action to see the Kroot hit that Ogren line, and then have a lore video and action segment extolling the virtues and honor of this incredibly interesting regiment of the Astra Militarum. So, you choose. That's Tango Charlie for Tank Crew, Tango Papa for Tau Perspective, and VP for Vostroyan Perspective. You decide. Welcome, gentle listener. I am Baldermort, and I wish to introduce you to the forces of factions and war gear of the Warhammer 40k universe, the grim darkness of the far future. We are continuing our look at Astra Militarum, or Imperial Guard, battle tanks. And today, we have an especially loved one, the Hellhound Battle Tank. Now, for the basics, let us lean on existing wisdom. To quote, Hellhound Tanks. This tank's specifications are as follows. Length 6.9 meters, width 5.7 meters, weight 35 tons. Engine Vulcanor 16 twin-coupled multi-burn power plant. Max speed on road 70 km per hour. Off-road 55 km per hour. Main armament Inferno Cannon with 98 shots. Heavy bolter with 400 rounds. Standard crew complement 3. Hellhounds are typically organized into either dedicated Hellhound tank companies or support squadrons for armored or mechanized companies, but will rarely fight together as a complete unit. Most commanders take a flexible approach to Hellhound deployment, attaching them to other units in an ad hoc fashion as needed. A select few guardsmen have the foolhardy bravery or insanity to willingly volunteer to crew a Hellhound. Those who do take perverse pride in their reputation, claiming others simply can't take the heat, as they gun their vehicle towards the largest concentration of enemy forces with pyromaniacal zeal. The Inferno Cannon, mounted on the Hellhound's turret, has a short range, but can spray its chemical fire over a wide area, filling every nook and cranny with flaming death and incinerating troops sheltering within buildings or behind cover. It is fed by a large Prometheum tank in place of the Chimera's troop compartment, with a large enough supply to give the Hellhound ample endurance during extended battles. While the large capacity overcomes the typical ammunition problems of other flame-throwing weapons, it does make the Hellhound a tempting target, as enemy fire can easily ignite the stored Prometheum and create a huge superheated fireball. For this reason, not only is the fuel tank armoured, but the Hellhound itself boasts thicker armour than found on the Chimera, along with a much larger engine. In addition, the Hellhound is also fitted with a hull-mounted heavy bolter, though in some models this is replaced with a heavy flamer or multi-melter. The vehicle can also be upgraded with a number of additions and modifications, including camo netting, a dozer blade, extra armour, a hunter-killer missile, a pintle-mounted heavy stubber or storm bolter, a searchlight and or smoke launchers. There are 3 known patterns of Hellhound, as follows. Mars pattern. More popular amongst guard commanders as their profile is largely unchanged from that of a standard Chimera, making it harder for the enemy to single them out. The Promethean reservoir fills the Chimera's cargo space. Artemia Pattern. The Artemia Pattern differs in 2 key ways. It has a remotely operated turret, reducing the number of crew to 2, and the cargo space is replaced with a much larger capacity fuel cell. This fuel cell is by necessity very heavily armoured. The Greyer Pattern. The Greyer Pattern also replaces the cargo compartment with a large fuel cell, but retains the standard manual turret and a crew of 3. End quote. The Hellhound. Certainly not the largest and definitely not the deadliest of the Imperium's tanks, it is intensely popular in concept, if not during points of any edition of the game. This is for one reason mainly. Fire. I certainly hope you have caught my entry on the Flamer, which goes into the main attraction of the weapon, but it can never be understated or too often stated the import and appeal of Flamer weapons in the grim darkness of the far future. It is not only the dazzling cinematic visions that they capture, but, in truth, they are also the most logical and strategically efficient weapons for dealing with a plethora of Xenos threats to the Imperium. Orcs generate spores when they die that lead to an entire crop of new greenskins in no time at all. The only way to prevent this is by burning them, as it destroys the spores as well. Tyranids thrive on combat and its results, the carcasses of both their own and their foes slain, for it is just biomass to them. But if it is burnt to a crisp, then it cannot be used as sustenance. Perfect. The list goes on, and of course, one of the 3 of our top 10 being burning heretics. And anyone who sees a flame tank in operation via the internet or in film will attest to the horror they will feel at a metallic monster prowling the battlefield, spitting huge gouts of flame from its maw like a landworm, a flightless dragon to most. Its smaller chassis makes it perfect for many light duties and for swift assault support, clearing out heavily entrenched infantry positions and bunkers. But it is also hilarious in the gallows humour way that is so quintessentially Warhammer, as it can explode at any time and ironically cook the pyromaniacs inside. Now I don't know if there are rules surrounding this in the past, but there are none presently out. But when I get one, as get one I will, then I look forward to inventing my own house rules on explosions and their chances. But that is another thing I would like to discuss, as it is War Gear Wednesday. The first rule. The rule that everyone seems to forget, even argues against sometimes, but it has been in every edition of the game that I have played. The rule. Play it how you want to. It's your game. Do what thou wilt, as some would say. In the new age of Crusade campaigns, this is going to be more important than it has been since 1987. And I fear it is something that will have to be repeated many times in many places before it truly sinks in again. If sink in it does. I see the Crusade campaign system as a real signal of a return to some of the mad fun of adventure and story building that was at the very heart at the inception of Warhammer 40k. Forge the narrative, as has been said in many a book and even paid homage in my own videos. Building a story with your battles. Making a campaign. And that will mean the imaginations take flight, and when that happens, when that is really allowed to spread its wings, then you will find that mad and macabre, marvellous and magnificent ideas will come to you, and many of the people you play with. As you get more comfortable with the campaign elements, and building your own story, then you will crave the ability to get some of your own ideas on the tabletop. And why not? Now, some can use these elements as an excuse to create boards and scenarios where they have the absolute advantage, is one argument. But we all know deep down who that guy is at any club or in any group of players. So I cannot see this as a real reason not to try new things, new custom rules, new effects from your own homebrew locations and scenery or buildings. My only word of caution is to only play such games with the new ideas when everyone has seen the rules, has agreed them, and has at least tried to discuss their potential effect on the games and scenarios you run. It is never entertaining to turn up to a club To have someone baffle you with their homebrew rules off the bat, and then be pressured into playing with them, when you just want a no complexities match play game to de-stress. So please do not get so attached to your ideas that you inadvertently force them on people who may not want to use them. But have these mad schemes? Write them! Come up with new challenges, new environments for you and your friends to all play and spend quality time together. Why wouldn't you? You may also meet people who will say, "It's not official GW, so I ain't playing," like their only idea that can come must be from Nottingham. No. Any one of the people who work there are gamers, players and dreamers. Why on earth would you be any less able to provide some fun than they? Oh, never delude yourself that they are not more professional and have play-tested things far more thoroughly than you might. But it does not remove the point I make. Your ideas are as good as anyone's. It is simply how you go about realizing them. So do play-test things yourself before taking them to trusted friends to look at them, before then unleashing them on your own local community. But this can be an awesome bit of fun unto itself. The amount of times I have had a good idea to then play on my own and roll the dice to realize it was not such a good idea after all. But for every failed idea, you will have one that works, and may just be a little bit different, a bit more fun. So for the sake of the Emperor, if you want to have a Thunder Warrior in your army, make the rules yourself, then ask your friends to assist with costing. Just make sure it's a narrative game. If you want to try an aquatic battle and have some fun ideas about injured heroes or units then drawing sharks or other predators, write them rules, or ask a friend who is very logical to assist you with the process. I can guarantee that irrespective of if you are drinking coffee or something much stronger, you'll be laughing by the end of a brainstorming session and may well have the perfect stats and rules to reflect a squig shark attack. It's a game. It's supposed to be fun. So don't constrain your fun. Let it rip. I have been Baldermort, your faithful servant. I hope you have enjoyed this brief introduction to the Hellhound Tank. If so, then do consider liking and subscribing. If you do, then please hit the notifications bell button, as I would not want you to miss out. Now, no matter what you do today, do try to make some time for fun. Toodaloo.